This is another episode of Talks with Tyler ISD, a podcast about the passionate people who have a heart for students. This podcast is brought to you by Texas Bank and Trust. Welcome to this episode of Talks with Tyler ISD. I'm your host, Jennifer Hines, and joining us today is the Director of Facilities and Maintenance, Mr. Loper. Thank you for joining us. We love to have you on our Talks with Tyler ISD podcast because you always give us the best updates about what's going on with our facilities around Tyler ISD, and we do have quite a few of them. Tell us a little bit about what we've been doing over the summer now that school is back in session. Summer's definitely a time when we can knock out some of those big projects.
Absolutely, and thank you for having me, Jennifer. Over the summer, we repainted 3 schools, Bolter, Moore, and Rice, and so those were completed, and yes, we always seems like we slide in home plate at the last minute, but we're always safe. We get there somehow. We're also re-roofing Hogg Middle School. It's in process right now with Gary in the administration building and transportation building to follow. We should finish that up here by the end of September.
And for those that don't know, Gary is actually the place that houses our bilingual department and also our special ed department. So we do have administration buildings throughout the district, not just the administration building that most people think of when they think of Tyler ISD. Tell us a little bit about some of the gym floors that are being refinished.
Yes, we did. We refinished and completely sanded down Bolter floor and Moore floor because we did go through rebranding on the mascots and all that, so it became necessary. So that was all completed also alongside with our painting at both of those schools. So yeah, we've had a lot going on. We've had a whole lot of different striping parking lots, concrete maintenance,
paving,
patching. The transportation area was completely reseal coated and areas patched and restriped. So we had buses all over at Tyler High, at Legacy, and at the administration building. Some people actually called superintendent and thought we were having an auction.
Right. No, the buses are not for sale.
Right.
We're just making the transportation area looking nicer, better security with the fencing and
yes.
all of that.
And speaking of the fencing, we've been needing to do this for a long time and upgrade, and we'll probably see more upgrades there in the future, but where all the main entrances for the buses are, and we put in automatic gates and long-range card readers for our trip buses at night. So like a coach has to come in at night and drop the bus off. They don't have to get out and then open the gate. It'll automatically open for them and close, and they can get in there safely.
And that's a great security and safety update for our students and our staff.
Absolutely.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Bond 2022. Start with Early College High School. They're getting a brand new building located next to our Career and Technology Center. How is that progressing?
That is coming along really good. Since we last talked, I think we were hanging still, which would have been back in May. We're actually getting all of our curtain walls in, which is all the framing for the glass, and the glass put in on the north end and wrapping around to the very front. We have our permanent power going. We have air conditioning going in the tornado shelter and the instructional area. So we're doing finishes now. We've already sheetrocked one side, sheetrocking the other, and starting to do our ceramic tile and those type of things. So it's moving along real good. Our contractor SCI is doing a great job, and we're within our schedules.
Well, I love the fact that it's going to be next to the CTC because it is going to allow those students to have access to some of the programming there. They're going to be able to expand to 650 plus students. And this really does kind of complete the fourth high school, so to speak. It will also allow Rise to expand. So that is the fourth high school. So that's a good thing that they all have their own locations now where they're going to have that ability to expand and do the programming that they need to do. I know the building has such a wonderful collegiate feel. Tell us a little bit more about how it is going to connect from the early college, high school over to the CTC?
So, as you know, currently the CTC does not have a cafeteria. So the early college will have a cafeteria, and our CTC students that were having to bus back to their home campus for a subject or for lunch and then a subject back at the CTC, this will give us a lot more flexibility on all of that scheduling, and they can utilize the cafeteria all together. So between where cosmetology is at the CTC on the back side of what I call the north side of the courtyard, will be a secure walkway, covered walkway that connects both campuses. So we can keep in compliance with all our safety and security protocols.
Well, speaking of safety and security, I know y'all have a few other safety and security measures, cameras and such. Talk to us a little bit about the safety and security that's going on there.
Yeah, so our all of our cameras that you mentioned, we have enhanced cameras, and we go over that with all our safety and security team as far as the placement for blind spots and all of that. Any fencing and stuff that we do is what we refer to as non-scalable. So we can keep wrongdoers out.
Right.
If there
Again,
were.
safety and security for the students and the staff.
And every exit and entrance at both our campuses and all our rest of our campuses also have access control that can be programmed to anyone that comes in the building or that has a proper ID card.
And of course, we've expanded the parking over there as well, so that's going to be great, so that all of the students that will be going from early college over to TJC and that great partnership that we have with Tyler Junior College, they'll be able to have plenty of parking there. Let's move on to the new Hubbard Middle School. I know so many people are excited about that, and you kind of have two things going on at once. You've got you're reversing kind of like you did with Tyler Legacy, and that is that you're building a school while they're still in the old school, and then once they move in, then you're going to be able to tear down the old school. What's the latest there?
Well, and just so you know, we've done this several times at many other campuses, and we're fortunate just to have just enough property to be able to do that. But that school is really coming along. CDI is our contractor, and we're doing finishes right now in this 3-story academic wing. We're also enclosing the rest of Area C, which is the cafeteria and locker rooms area. We have since gotten the slab and foundations in and going up with a gymnasium, and the auxiliary gymnasium, which acts as our tornado shelter, is also going up. So it's moving along very well, and we're very pleased with it, and actually have scheduled furniture for both campuses to arrive on what our construction company believes are scheduled completion dates, or at least substantial completion.
Well, that's wonderful. Now, once all of the students move into the new campus and that happens, we start tearing down the old one because we got to get that field, right?
That's correct. And we actually did some demolition by way of abatement in the main building, because that's where most of the ball field goes. So this summer we abated that, moved all the furniture out, took the floor tile up, resealed the floors, put it all back in. Custodians did a great job putting everything back together, and we've done this before at our other campuses. So yes, that will help us expedite that demolition of taking that building down and getting excavated. We got a lot of dirt to excavate out from under the building before we can get started on the field. So yes, that would be the next phase of this project.
Well, let's talk a little bit about timelines. I know that there have been supply issues ever since COVID began. I'm sure it's still trickling on a little bit. What is that kind of looking like for both campuses?
It's some things are consistent. Electrical gear is still hard to find, though we secured ours early on, and getting it delivered and things have been a challenge. But there's other items that just all of a sudden seem to surprise us. One of them's glass. We have a long-term lead item in glass itself.
Okay.
And so that's been a struggle for that. I mean, yes, it has caused some delays, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say that all of the rain we had in June caused delays on pouring concrete.
Right.
And of course, now the heat
Yeah.
is affecting, our workers and everything else in different ways. But
Definitely things you can't control when you're
Right.
trying to build such large buildings, of course.
Yeah, of course, but it's our contractors are doing a great job and believe that they're sticking with it and on their timelines.
Well, and one of the great things is that throughout this entire process, we've been going out there, we've been taking drone footage of both of the campuses. So anyone out there that's listening that would love to go back and see that, they can just go to tylerisd.org/bond2022 updates, and they can see all of the different videos as it has progressed along the way, which is great. Of course, now that the school year is underway, you've got all of that summer maintenance behind you. You've got more maintenance that kind of comes along throughout the school year as well.
Yeah, we do. We have all kinds of inspections that come up, from fire inspections, fire extinguisher inspections, to fire alarm, to burglar alarm, to elevator inspections. Matter of fact, I got a notification today on an elevator inspection that's due. So all of those are annual and ongoing. Of course, we did a lot this summer as far as maintenance and in power washing our front sidewalks in all of our campuses to get our front doors looking as good as they can for the first day that students and staff step in school. And then, of course, we do our preventive maintenance stuff behind the scenes, washing HVAC coils to keep our systems running efficient, and changing filters. That's an annual and monthly process anyway.
Well, and I think one of the good things is we were just talking about the bond, and now we're talking about all of this maintenance, which is costly to keep these beautiful facilities up. The beauty of it is that we have money set aside for maintenance specifically. I know a lot of districts don't. They'll go out for a bond with it. Tell us a little bit about that.
We're fortunate that 3 cents of our tax rate goes to what we call a preventive maintenance fund. Now, that's not our daily maintenance in operations.
These are your bigger projects.
Yeah, these are for all lifetime, life cycle replacement costs on roofs, repainting schools, which is maintenance itself.
Yeah.
Preventive maintenance.
HVAC systems.
HVAC systems. We do flooring and any other special projects with that. So we've been very fortunate. And our paving and paving maintenance and all that comes from that also. And so we've been real fortunate in this district, and we've had board and community that are very supportive of that. And we're okay right now.
Yeah.
And we'll have some HVAC coming up here in the next couple of years. So it's not many school districts I've ever heard of do this, but we're fortunate in Tyler.
Well, and a lot of people don't even realize when we talk about facilities and maintenance, like how big of an area we're talking about. I mean, it's 193 square miles. We're talking about over 35 facilities that we have to keep up and make sure that they are maintained.
Yeah. You're looking at about 500 million square feet.
Right. That's a lot.
It is a lot.
That's just to put it into perspective. Well, it looks like the staff have been excited to get back into the classrooms. I know the students are excited to be back in their classrooms. Lots of the maintenance has been done in the summer, and as you just mentioned, it will continue to happen, and so that education can be happening inside of our facilities. Is there anything that you would like for our parents or the community to know about as they're listening to this podcast?
Well, just 2 things, Jennifer. One of them, I'd just like to give a shout out to our custodial staff this past summer. They worked really hard in getting these facilities ready, and a lot of them completely stripped and waxed, especially where we didn't have summer camps. And those that had summer camps, they had great challenges getting it done before the campus staff and students came back. So just a shout out for them. And also to the community, I just really appreciate the support and the confidence that they have in Tyler ISD. to support us in this, not only preventive maintenance, but these new facilities.
Yes, and it's kind of nice because we're seeing as these 2 new schools are being built that it's kind of tying a bow on a 20-year plan of redoing all of the facilities across Tyler ISD. So it's great to see that we have such great facilities and support from the community to have such facilities
Yes.
for all of our students and for our future workforce for the area of Tyler and Smith County.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Well, Mr. Loper, thank you so much again for joining us for this episode of Talks with Tyler ISD. And we appreciate you listening. If you would like to know more about all things Tyler ISD, please feel free to listen to all of our other Talks with Tyler ISD episodes. You can also subscribe to our newsletter, and you can also download our app and get news there. And you can go to get.tylerisd.news for more information. We'd like to thank our sponsor, Texas Bank and Trust. Subscribe to Talks with Tyler ISD on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Spotify. Please share this episode with your friends and family.